Hello everyone, my name's Jorge and welcome to my channel, which I am calling The Journey. Today I'm going to cover 5 essential things that you should really know before you start doing any gig delivery work like Uber Eats or DoorDash. Now, I've been doing Uber and Lyft for over 6 years now, as you can see. And in 2020, once the pandemic really hit, I switched my focus completely over to food delivery. I signed up for Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, all the food delivery apps that you can think. And I'll be covering these 5 things, so hopefully you can avoid some of the mistakes that I made and learn a little something on this video. Number 1 thing that I think you should know before you start any of these delivery apps, but you absolutely don't have to take, and you shouldn't take every order. Ideally, what you want to shoot for is that the order pays you about $2 per mile. However, anything under $1.50 a mile, I think it's really not worth it. Other thing you have to keep in mind when you're considering these orders that you're either taking or not is the time that it takes you. Your time is valuable. So, if there's an order that comes in for you, and let's say it's $8 for, 4 miles, and it meets that criteria of $2 per mile, but Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever app you're using has it estimated that it's going to take you 40 minutes to complete the order. The way I think about it is initially I check off the box for meeting the $2 per mile criteria or close to there, and then I look at the time, estimated time it's going to take to complete. 40 minutes of my time is worth more than $8, so something like that I would very likely decline unless I'm in a bind and I need quick cash or something like that. The thing I think you should know when you're considering driving for one of these gig apps is know your area. Get to know the area that you live in. If you live in a small town, maybe try to get to know the downtown busy area that will have a lot of lunch volume. If you live in a metro area, maybe you find a specific neighborhood that has a good grouping of restaurants. You'll get to know the busy times too. Get to know breakfast time. Usually what time is that in your area? A lot of things that are one of the things that's happening now is a lot of people are working from home more and more often. A lot of the companies switch to either hybrid or completely working from home. So a lot of people will order breakfast, Starbucks. I know that one of the things that I like to do if I'm doing a weekday and I'm out driving, first place I'll go is close to Starbucks to me because I know I'll get orders. Starbucks is a premium brand, so people will usually tip on those orders. Not always, but usually tip. Get to know the busy times for lunch. Get to know the busy times for dinner. In your area, is dinner usually 5 to 7? Is it more on the 6 to 8 range? On that same note, get to know parking in your area. If lunch is going to be, the time that you have available to drive, a lot of people when they're in the office, they're ordering lunch for employees, for themselves. So how difficult is it to park in that area? If you're in a downtown area, you're probably going to run into situations where it's hard for you to find parking, or it's going to be expensive for you to find parking. You might have to pay for it, and that small profit that you're making on that order, if it's a couple of bucks, might be gone on profit. Or an order that would typically take 15 minutes for you to deliver to a home is now going to take 25 minutes because you have to spend 8 to 10 minutes looking for a parking spot. And I say it because I speak from experience. It happened to me at a hotel downtown. Had to park in an alley, a place where I wasn't supposed to park, and run into the hotel and deliver the order. All right, y'all. So as promised, here's a quick view of my hub, my area. I'm gonna put up a screenshot of the of the Google Maps, just so you can see the restaurants in my area. There's a ton of them. You'll see them here, but just so you guys get a glimpse, here we go. Sprinkle a little here, but there you can see a Chipotle, a Dickey's. Behind me, there's a McDonald's. Over here on this side, we've got a pho Vietnamese kitchen. We've got a Mexican taco place. One of the things to keep in mind also in your area is check out the weather for the next couple of days. As you can see here, it's sprinkling a little bit in Phoenix. That usually means people will stay in, will order more food. So that increases the possibility of you getting better orders, higher tips. People tend to tip a little bit more when it's raining. But now that I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage and grab a couple of orders, see how much I can make, and then I'll come back at you with the next tip. All right, back from that short little drive there. I ended up doing 2 hours and 40 minutes of driving. I did all Uber Eats right now. Total with tips included was $80.09. So a really, really good night. I was fortunate that the stars kind of lined up for me on this one. So it's a Friday night. Friday's payday, usually a lot busier. Additionally, it was sprinkling in my area for the majority of the time that I was out there. So usually when it starts to rain or cloudy weather, people feel like staying in a little bit more, watching some Netflix, catching a movie. So typically they'll order something to eat. And with it being extremely busy and the light rain, I was able to cherry pick orders a little bit more. Like I mentioned, I focused on Uber Eats. This kind of leads into my next tip. Third thing I really think you should consider and try to master and learn is be careful when you're chasing the hot zones or the surges or the bonuses, peak times. Today was a really good example. I was fortunate to where Uber had a boost of 1.4x. So that means if you had an order that was $1, they pay you $1.40 instead. If you had an order that was $10, your payout would be $14. So that was a really good boost. It made some of the larger orders really worthwhile. However, the reason the boost is there, the boost was there after 8 p.m. and right now it's 10 p.m. The reason the boost is there is because some of the fast food restaurants at 8 p.m. start closing up the lobbies. So not as many drivers want to go out to wait in a drive-through. So you really have to be careful when you're chasing a boost like that. On my way home, I stopped by for something to eat in that little hub area where there's a McDonald's and a Mexican restaurant. I picked up some Mexican for myself. However, at the McDonald's, if I had to take a guess, probably 12 cars in the drive-through, and the majority are probably delivery drivers. So just because there's a good boost or a good surge or peak pay doesn't mean it's going to be a great time to drive. So just be careful of that. Same thing happens during lunchtime in a busy downtown area. Of course, there's going to be a boost or a peak time or a bonus or surge, for a good maybe 1 to 3 hours, because people are ordering typically lunch between 11 and 1, 11 and 2. Uber doesn't want to make their customers wait, because if they have to wait, they might as well go down and get it themselves. So they'll offer you peak time or a bonus. This leads me to my fourth point. I think it's really important. It's one that's a little bit trickier, and I'm sure you've heard of it online. A lot of people doing it. Is definitely multi-app. You'll want to make sure that if you can, if possible, run more than one app. It almost always happens where if you're on Uber, it might be slow that day for whatever reason. It could be a multitude of reasons. It could be that they're not offering any bonuses. Whatever the reason might be, saturation of drivers, Uber might be slow. Typically, I run Uber and DoorDash at the same time. They seem to be the most popular here in the Phoenix area. However, on a night like tonight, I ran Uber only because they had the 1.4x boost that I was talking about. So that turns a $10 order into a $14 order, which is great for me. DoorDash had peak pay, I think after 8 p.m. for $1 extra per order. If your order's $10, $5, $20, they're going to give you $1 peak pay. So in my mind, I thought I'm going to capitalize on Uber's 1.4 boost, make as much money as I can there without getting taken into a DoorDash order. Now, with multi-apping, everyone's got their way of doing it. You could say it's controversial. I try to think of it in a customer-centric way. So if I'm multi-apping, what I'll do is I will turn on both apps at the same time. Uber on, DoorDash on. If I get an Uber Eats order and it meets all the criteria, it's not too long, around $2 per mile, and so on, and I grab that, as soon as I head to grab that order, I will switch off DoorDash. Because I don't want to take an Uber Eats order and then a good DoorDash order comes up and I'm busy picking up the Uber Eats order, and while I could probably still make it to go get the DoorDash order, I'm going to make the DoorDash customer wait, which equals cold food, a longer wait time. Thinking as a customer, I usually order food when I'm starting to get hungry, and I expect, 20 to 30, maybe 45-minute delivery if it's a busy time. But if that's the case with my first Uber Eats order and then I have to go get the DoorDash order, it can get a little bit messy. Some people out there like to try, oh, you know, if I get 2 orders that are kind of either in the same restaurant or near each other, I can possibly work that out. But I think about it this way, you know, if I go pick up let's say it's a 4-mile McDonald's order, I go pick it up with Uber Eats, and I also get a DoorDash order that's 4 miles at that same McDonald's. If they're in opposite directions, someone is going to get cold food. So you really, really have to be careful how you run that. Now, on the same topic of apps, use as many apps to your advantage as possible. I'm sure you've heard a ton of people talk about the Get Upside app. If you have it available in your area and it gives you a good discount on gas, go ahead and use it and stack that up with, like, if you have a credit card that gives you 3% back on gas, get your 3% back from your credit card, get the discount that Upside gives you. You know, you can cash it out later for a gift card or whatever you want to use it for, but definitely try to work those towards your advantage. My 5th and final point, I think, is the most important one before you start delivery on any app. This will really determine how you use the other 4 tips and help you really strategize on how you approach the gig delivery. Figure out what is your reasoning for driving. What is your why? You know, are you turning on Uber Eats today because it's Friday and you're hanging out with your friends on Saturday and you need some extra cash? You know, are you turning on Uber Eats or DoorDash today because you're saving up for a new PS5? Are you saving up for a trip, a vacation? Are you trying to pay down some debt? Are you trying to pay rent? I've ran into the situation where, hey, it's Wednesday and bills are due Friday and I need cash right now. So that will really, really help you identify what your strategy is going to be. Is Uber Eats and DoorDash your full-time gig? If that's what it is, you're definitely going to approach it different. Because if I need $50 to go out with my friends tonight, I'm not going to be as picky with the orders. You know, if I get an order that's $5 for 4 miles, I might just take it because that $5 will get me to those $50 that I need for tonight. So whatever your reason might be, you need to identify it because it will impact your strategy. Folks, those are the 5 things that I really think that I wish that I knew when I started. It would have kept me from making a couple of mistakes. So if there's any other tips that you have out there, that feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm looking for any advice that will make my journey on this rideshare gig app delivery a little bit smoother. I know there's a lot of people out there that are that's doing this, has a ton of advice. So feel free to drop a comment here. Let me know where you're driving, how it is there. Is it, busy on the weekends, busy at nights? Let me know. If you like this video, and even if it was a little bit helpful, feel free to click the like button. Go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm going to try to put out videos every week on this journey and maybe some other journeys that I go through as well. I've got an Amazon store that I've put up that I'm trying to really manage and have that be a success. But otherwise, you can also follow me on Instagram. The profile is named The Journey. I'm going to try to put up some videos and some content there as well. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.